time to bring you some crime and thriller recommendations, and I don't know why, as a crime and thriller girl, I haven't done this sooner. Hi, Katie here. You may know me over on Instagram and TikTok as Reading with Katie Louise, and I'm here to bring you some crime and thriller recommendations. So first up is probably a good one to start with if you're new to crime and thriller and this isn't your usual genre and you're coming across me on your feed, and that is the Good Girl Guide to Murder series. So the first book in the series is The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and this follows Pip as she tries to solve the disappearance of Andy Bell. It then progresses into a 3-book series of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Good Girl, Bad Blood, and As Good as Dead. These are young adult crime, that's why I think they're a really good recommendation to get into. This was actually the first book I read back in 2023 that started me on my BookTok journey. I just generally find this like a really quick and easy read because it is young adult, it's not as full on, and you've probably heard of the series, but I'd definitely go and read the book first because I do genuinely think that the book is a better book. Now, this is more an author I would recommend, but there are 2 books I'm going to recommend to you. The first one being The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. This follows Millie as she goes into someone's house as a housemaid. She's actually an ex-convict and she's struggling to get a job, but this family give her a chance. This is actually the start of a trilogy of books, but obviously you need to read them in order, definitely. And yeah, like I said, Freida's books are really quick and easy to read. They're short chapters, they're really catchy, and you never really see the plot twist coming. I will put a disclaimer. The first 2, phenomenal. Third one, maybe one step too far in my opinion, but again, that is my opinion. Please give it a try because I have seen so many people rate all 3 books 5 stars. But yeah, The Housemaid, and the other Freida McFadden that I always recommend to people is Never Lie. This follows 2 people as they get stuck in a snowstorm whilst viewing a house. No one arrives to show them around the house, so they decide to take a look around themselves. They find like a secret basement type area, and there are loads of cassette tapes in there. As they're stuck in the house for a couple of days, they start to look through. The house was previously owned by a doctor/psychiatrist, and yeah, my favourite book of Freida's personally. I will not stop recommending this to people. But yeah, if you want something to get into Freida, The Housemaid's the first book to go on. But personally, I love Never Lie, and I would recommend this over The Housemaid. Still both 5-star reads in my opinion, but I just feel like Never Lie brings more twists and turns. I had my jaw on the floor. Yeah, there's just so many different reasons why I recommend this one, but still, both Freida McFadden books, definite recommend. The next recommendation I have for you is His and Hers by Alice Feeney. Alice Feeney in general I think is a really good author. I've heard so many positive things about her. I have only read 2 of her books. This one was on audio, in fact both were on audio. I have read His and Hers and Sometimes I Lie, but His and Hers I give 5 stars and would absolutely recommend. This follows 2 people, one woman, one man who actually used to be married. The man is a detective and is currently trying to solve the unaliving of somebody. The woman is a journalist and always seems to get to the scene as several unalivings occur, and they all end up connecting back to her, and yeah, it's just a case of who did it, but you do not see the twists and turns coming in this. And honestly, I actually sort of gasped aloud when I was listening to this on audio. And for those that don't know, I listen to audiobooks at work, and someone was actually sat in the room with me while I was working and was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, whoops, no, my audiobook just took a turn. So I try to avoid crimes at work now because I picked up such a good read. But yeah, if you want to try Alice Feeney, definitely give this one a go. Now, if you want a book that keeps you up at night, I would recommend The Prisoner by B.A. Paris. I was thinking about this in the early hours of the morning. So it wasn't a case if I had to stay up to finish it. I'm quite controlled when it comes to reading. I did have work the next day. That being said, I woke up at about 2-3am and all I could think about was this book. I was literally dreaming about this book. And I had about 100 pages to go, so it wasn't like, you know, that little bit stay up late kind of vibe. No, this was a case of I got up at 3am and I finished the book. And then went and did a full day at work. You will see that in my 5-star video. In fact, I probably said that all about a week ago. But this follows 2 people who are imprisoned. They're actually imprisoned in separate rooms. The woman can actually hear the conversations going on underneath through the floorboards, and she can hear exactly what her other half is saying and whether it is worth you know, basically keeping quiet. It is so twisty, and oh my goodness, it was well worth the tired day at work I had with this book. But still, yes, pick So it's my only read by B.A. Paris, but I have got a few lined up on audio to read, and just generally I'm excited to pick up any more by this author, but yeah, what a first book by this author for me. Next up is another author recommend, but the first book I want to talk about is The Echo Man. So Sam Holland has written the Major Crime Unit series, and that fills with 3 books. The first in the series is The Echo Man. This follows a series of unalivings as the Major Crime Unit tries to solve it. Little did they know until further in the book that this is actually someone going around committing a series of serial unalivers crimes. So not just one serial unaliver, he's going around committing different ones. And they're all very well known names. So yeah, honestly, such a quick and easy read, and I just couldn't stop thinking about this book, so I had to pick up the second book. So Echo Man was an instant 5-star for me, absolute recommend. But then I went into the second in the series, and that is The 20. So as the title suggests, there happens to be a series of unalivings, but they actually take part quite a while apart, so the link isn't found straight away. But basically, they are counting down from 20 and want to get down to 1. Question is, do they actually do it? But honestly, this was so quick, so pacey, and yeah, I actually ended up picking up the third in the series, but I didn't have to rate this as much. Still a really good book, still a recommend, but it isn't quite featuring it in this video. But that is The Puppet Master. I will put it on the screen if you want the full series. But the cliffhanger on this had me reading The Puppet Master. But The Puppet Master didn't actually unveil the ending to this until halfway through. You can imagine my frustration. I just wanted to know the outcome. But these two aren't really intertwined as such. There are brief mentions of the Echo Man in The 20. But the Puppet Master ties both of the teams as they join together in the Puppet Master. So I would still recommend reading them all in order. But honestly, this series nonetheless, fantastic read and a really quick and easy. And for those that have Kindle Unlimited, the Echo Man is on there, the rest of the series isn't. But if you just want to start with the Echo Man and you want to give it a try without paying for the book, this one is on KU. Now, the next author I want to talk about probably won't come as much of a surprise if you follow me on my TikTok and my Instagram, but I discovered a new author in 2024, and that was MJ Arledge. You can just see in the background behind me here that I have quite a few of his books. There will be a ranking video coming for his books when I finish them. I'm just not quite ready to end my journey with D.I. Helen Grace just yet. But let's get into the 2 of my favourite books in the series. But again, they are a series in order, so you will have to read the books in between these 2. But the first one is Eeny Meeny, and this is actually the first in the series. This was an instant 5-star for me, and I came across this author by accident. So for a story, these books were available in the works for like £3 each, but at the time I only saw one of them, and that was Hide and Seek. Hide and Seek is actually book 6 or 7 in the series, and yeah. So I went back and bought all of them up to Hide and Seek. As you can imagine, it just carried on going from there. So yeah, now I have 11 out of 12 of the Helen Grace series. I also have A Gift for Dying, Eye for an Eye as well, which means I basically own pretty much all of his books. I have The Wrong Child on my Kindle to read, and I have recently just read an arc of The Reunion, which releases 5th of September, so depending when this video goes out, it may or may not have already released, but that is another recommend, but not as much as these. Anyway, Eeny Meeny follows somebody who is going around kidnapping 2 people at a time, and the deal is, the only way they can get out alive is if one of them unalives the other. So the person in question isn't actually committing a crime until, yeah, they're basically plotting to unalive people, but they're not actually doing any of the unaliving, which is quite clever. But honestly, the twist and the who did it, wow. Honestly, phenomenal. Inhaled this in a day, and this is when the obsession began. The second book in the series, the second favourite book for me in the series is Little Boy Blue. So this is book number 5 in the series. The cliffhanger alone on this gave me 5-star vibes. It is also the shortest book in the series. This follows 3 unalivings of people D.I. Helen Grace knows, but it's from her past that she doesn't necessarily want the police force to know. So she does everything in her power to make it unknown that, you know, she knows the victims, but she has become quite close with some of these victims. But I did not genuinely see the ending coming on this, and the cliffhanger it left me on just spiraled me further and further into the series. Final recommendation from me, and that is The Curfew by T.M. Logan. Most of my recommendations are probably just featured in my 5-star read video. However, it is always good just to reiterate that these are really good crime and thriller recs. This follows a dad whose son is currently in the frame for someone who has gone missing. We don't know whether the person is alive or not, and basically it's the dad going through the turmoil trying to figure out whether his son was involved. His son did not come back for his curfew, hence the title. This was one of those books that actually had me up, again, 4 or 5 in the morning reading it, but that was because I couldn't stop thinking about it. And again, I inhaled this pretty quickly despite working in a pretty demanding job. And I have now got the holiday to pick up while I'm away. And yeah, I am honestly starting to collect his books. Such a good crime writer. Again, short chapters, quick and easy read. Absolute recommend. So that is some of my crime and thriller recommendations. Please let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books, if you intend to read them on the back of my recommendations, and also let me know some of your crime and thriller recommendations. I am always looking for more books to read, or it may be that I've read them and it's a crime and thriller rec I haven't even thought of. And obviously here in this community I want to help as many people read as many crime and thriller recs. As always, like and subscribe to more of my videos, and thank you again so much for watching this video. Have a lovely day and thanks again for watching.